Madam Chairman, at 7 o'clock.
Good evening. I call to order this regular meeting of the Minnehaha County Planning Commission, and I will begin with a few introductory comments. As a courtesy to everyone here tonight, please make sure that all cell phones have been silenced. Please note that tonight's Planning Commission meeting will be rebroadcast via City Link and posted on the www.minnehahacounty.gov site for viewing by the general public. Any final action taken on the conditional use permit applications tonight will take effect 5 working days following this meeting unless a written appeal of the Planning Commission's decision is filed in the Planning Office by Monday, July 29th at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be referred to the County Commission for a hearing on Tuesday, August 20th at or after 9 a.m. The affected parties will be notified of the meeting date, and meetings of the County Commission are held in this same room. Any final action taken on the agricultural tourism applications tonight will take effect 5 working days following this meeting unless a written appeal of the Planning Commission's decision is filed in the Planning Office by Monday, July 29th at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be referred to the County Commission for a hearing on Tuesday, August 20th at or after 9 a.m. The affected parties will be notified of the meeting date, and meetings of the County Commission are held in this same room. First on the agenda is public input. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on an item that is not on the agenda? Ma'am, please state your name, and you have 5 minutes.
Oh, I need 2 seconds. My name is Jean Childs, and I'm just wondering why we're not doing the Pledge of Allegiance. That's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? At this time, the Planning Commission will consider the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are perceived to be non-controversial and meet all of the requirements of the codes and regulations. The consent agenda will be acted on in one motion with no public hearing on the items unless a member of the public, the commission, or staff requests the item be removed from the consent agenda. The minutes from the June 24th, 2024 meeting are included in the consent agenda. Next, I'll read each item on the consent agenda and ask if there are any issues or comments from the Planning Commission or the audience. And if any member of the Planning Commission and the audience would like to be heard on the item, please raise your hand. And the item will be moved to the regular agenda to allow you to address the commission later in the meeting. Any items remaining on the consent agenda will be approved by the Planning Commission with the conditions recommended by staff. Item number 1 on the consent agenda is approval of the minutes of the June 24th, 2024 meeting. Item number 2 is conditional use permit 24-32 to exceed 3,600 square feet of accessory building space, requesting 5,240 square feet on the property legally described as the east 41.5 rods of north 17 rods. It's in the northeast quarter, section 17, township 103 north, range 48 west. That is in Edison Township. The petitioner is Ted and Brenda Fegan. That's also the property owner. Located at 47993 252nd Street. Is there anyone from the audience or the commission or staff wish to be heard on this item? Item number 3 is conditional use permit 24-33 to transfer one building eligibility from Tract 1, Whitmore's Addition, the southwest quarter, the southeast quarter, to the southeast quarter, the southwest quarter, all within Section 31, Township 103 North, Range 49 West. That is in Severe Drop Township. Petitioner is Brett Whitmore. Property owner is Jean and Judy Whitmore. The location is approximately 2 miles northeast of Crooks. Is there anyone from the commission, staff, or audience wish to be heard on this item? Item number 4 is conditional use permit 24-34 to transfer one building eligibility from tracts 2 and 3, Hutchison's Addition, and the southwest quarter. There is an exception of Bison's tracts and except the tracts 1, 4, and 5, end of exception. To the southeast quarter, there's another exception of Hutchison Addition, all within section 36, township 103 north, range 49 west. That's also in Sevier Township. Petitioners, Hutchison's Living Trust, also the property owner, and that is located at the intersection of 256th Street and 478th Avenue. Is there anyone from the commission, the staff, or the audience wish to be heard on this item? Item number 5, conditional use permit 24-35 to allow a manufactured home on the property legally described as Tract 7, Lot 3 and Lot 4, Voigt Subdivision, Section 21, Township 101 North, Range 51 West. That is in Wall Lake Township. The petitioner is Brianna Rees. Property owner is Tracy Rees. The location is a quarter mile east of 462nd Avenue on West Shore Place. Is there anyone from the audience, the staff, or commission wish to be heard on this item? Okay, we will remove number 5 to the regular agenda. Item number 6, conditional use permit 24-36 to exceed 3,600 square feet of accessory building space, requesting 5,700 square feet on the property legally described as Tract 3, Swanson's Tracts, west half, northwest quarter, Section 14, Township 103 North, Range 48 West. That is in Edison Township. Petitioner is Heath Lacey. He's also the property owner, located 25236 482nd Avenue. Anyone from the commission, staff, or audience wish to be heard on this item? Item number 7 is the agricultural tourism permit 24-02 to allow a U-Pick farm on the property legally described as Tract 2B, Waynesness Edition, south half, southeast quarter, Section 10, Township 102 North, Range 48 West, that is in Brandon Township. Petitioner is Emily Holt. She's also the property owner, located at 48186 258th Street. Anyone from the commission, the staff, or audience wish to be heard on this item? Item number 8, conditional use permit 24-37 to transfer 6 building eligibilities from Tract 3, Everett's Addition, southeast quarter, southwest quarter, and the south half, southeast quarter, Section 11, and Lot 1 of Mary Galish Addition, except the east half, Section 13, and the west 1,871 feet. There is an exception of the north 1,152 feet, and of exception, south half, Section 12, to the south half, another exception of the west 1,871 feet, and except H-2, end of exception. Section 12, all within Township 104 North, Range 49 West, that is in Del Rapids Township. Petitioner is DGR Engineering. The person responsible is Jacob Morris. Owner is Jokers LLC, located approximately 2 miles east of Del Rapids along Jasper Street. Anyone from the commission, staff, or audience wish to be heard on this item? Okay, We'll move item number 8 to the regular agenda. Commissioners, I will need a motion for all the items except number 5 and number 8.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion to approve the items except for number 5 and number 8 from the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. If your item has been approved, you're free to go. Move on to, excuse me, item number 5. Kevin?
All right, good evening. I am Kevin Hookman from the County Planning Department. This is a conditional use permit to allow a manufactured home on a property along West Shore Place near Wall Lake. It's shown on the map here. The manufactured home, this is also, I should point out at the beginning of this, that this is requested in conjunction with variance number 2402, which will be heard later at the Board of Adjustment tonight. So they are linked together, and although they are similar and linked, they are not the same, so you're going to be acting on these separately. Manufactured homes are generally defined as constructing its own chassis and built to HUD construction standards, and a conditional use permit is required to place one on a residential property in the county. The staff has worked with the petitioner to develop a site plan for the requested home. The petitioner has proposed a 27 and has just recently updated that to a 28-foot wide manufactured home that will not fit on the property without a variance. The required width of a mobile home is, our manufactured home is 22 feet, so that is a minimum width that has to be used. For the conditional use permit criteria, it's considered for all conditional use permits. Number 1, the effect upon the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the use is already permitted and upon the property values in the immediate vicinity. This is a largely established neighborhood along West Shore Place. Many of the homes are located on the lake side of the property, and this is on the back side of the lake, or it's not fronting the lake. These lots many of them also are narrow, and they have narrow houses that look similar to this kind of shape of a rectangular shape. The manufactured home will fit well into the neighborhood and have similar appearance to many of the styles of the houses already there. Number 2, the effect upon the normal and orderly development and improvements surrounding vacant properties for uses predominant in the area. West Shore Place is, like I said, is mostly developed. The properties on this side of the road have been built to house accessory buildings and sheds for parking. The proposed manufactured home may lead to more similar requests on interior lots, because these interior lots are also small, and the footprint size of a manufactured house leads well to the small lots. Number 3, the utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities are provided. This is a private road, and they'll have to get access to the private road. Drainage will largely remain the same on the property with the manufactured home, and the petitioner will be required to obtain all required utilities, including approval of hookup for Wall Lake Sanitary Sewer District for a new house on the property, since that is a requirement for all new houses on the property, regardless of if it's a manufactured home or not. Number 4, that off-street parking and loading requirements are met. The property does not currently have a garage. The accessory buildings are there for shed-type purposes. If the setbacks of the manufactured home are approved at 20 feet or further, there will be plenty of space in front of the house to accommodate several vehicles in the front yard. Number 5, the measures are taken to control offensive odors, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, and lighting, inclusive of lighted signs, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance. Typical residential use will not create offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, or vibration. The property must be maintained in accordance with public nuisance ordinance. And number 6, the health, safety, and general welfare of the public and the comprehensive plan. The zoning ordinance does have requirements for minimum size and width and aesthetics portions to maintain the aesthetics of a house. It also has a roof pitch requirement for a manufactured home. A manufactured home can be an affordable option for a homeowner in that situation. Staff does recommend approval of a conditional use permit with 5 conditions, and I'm here for any questions. Oh, why don't I go through a few of the photos? So this is the updated site plan, or excuse me, updated layout of the manufactured home of 28 by 40. This would be the site plan. Part of the limiting factors of the site is that there are the 2 existing sheds there, and then it must maintain 10 feet from a detached structure, which really kind of pushes it forward a little bit, and we'll talk more about that in the variance portion when we get to the Board of Adjustments. This is a photo of the lot. When I was there, there is like a rectangle that was, you can kind of see a couple stakes in the ground that show where that rectangle would go approximately. This is looking down the neighborhood road to the west. It's kind of looking to the east along the property. You can see the shed there that is, it's not a garage, it's just a kind of a work shed. And then there's across the street, the 2 houses across the street. I'll bring it back to the overhead view. Is there any questions?
Any questions for him? Guess not. Is the petitioner here? Yes. Will you please step forward, state your name and address?
My name's Brianna Reese, and I'm here for the Wall Lake Township home. I do have pictures too, if you would like to see what the house would look like. I've lived in this neighborhood for 25 going on 30 years. I've grown up there my entire life almost. I have a son now. He's a big part of our family. He's very attached to his grandparents who live across the road and own the property currently. My brother also lives across the road, so we're also a very tight-knit family. And we just want to kind of keep it that way. And it'd be nice for me to also have a home out there to where we could enjoy our company with one another and grow together, so. I do have pictures, if you would like to see them, of what the property's gonna look like. Thank you. So I also know that there's a very big difference between what manufactured homes are represented as today as what they used to be in the 1970s. And I just wanted to state the fact that this is what the new home looks like nowadays. And it isn't something that's going to be just set in the ground. It does actually have a foundation. I have a picture also of the foundation of what that's going to look like. It doesn't just sit on the ground, it sits on pillars, 8 4x4 pillars that go 4 feet into the ground. So it's really an affordable way of living nowadays. And it's like I said, close by to family, so it's just something that we would really like to see happen, but, so this is what the front of the property would look like. I have some of the interior, so it's very new and updated. It's brand new house. It's actually gonna be built in 2025. Here's what the inside interior would look like. So it's not your typical mobile home. It's a manufactured home, so there is a difference. It doesn't come on tires. It'll be hauled in and then it's placed onto the property. And then it goes onto these pillars here like that. There'll be some skirting that'll go around the edges on the bottom part, and it is insulated. So that is all I have for you today.
Any questions for her?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, I guess without getting ahead of ourselves to our next meeting, but just what's your perception of the lot size and how hard has it been to design it in such a way that you'll feel confident that it fits properly on the lot?
With the variable, I know you said not to go too far into it, but I do know that there's a lot of room for it to fit. I know we had already kind of looked at it previous to the variable or the variance, and it did fit onto the property when we had the 24 by 40. This is just extended a couple more feet, so it's really not too big of a difference to fit. There is quite a leeway on the back side too, with a variable if the front doesn't work. So if there's, no approval for that variance, I'm more fine with choosing to go backwards with it too, so.
Okay, we might hit more on that, but Madam Chair, if I could,
Go ahead.
just another set of questions would just be, sounds like you've lived in the neighborhood a long time. Can you just give a general description of the other homes in the neighborhood, the average age of homes in that neighborhood? And then also, it seems like in the staff report, there's kind of a difference between the residences on the lakefront and then a lot of across the street, the side of the street that you're potentially building on is a lot of garages, things like that. Can you just give us what's going on each side of the street and what's your perception of the neighborhood?
Yeah, so my perception of the neighborhood, it is a very well-kept neighborhood. I do agree with that. That's why I plan on building a home that's very well-kept and taken care of. It's not cheap whatsoever, so I do feel that my home is in the same, price range as any other home on the properties. I do feel that they have probably gone up since the, years have gone by. So it may look down upon to build a home like this in that area. But I do know on my side of the street, if I were to build there, it's mostly run-down sheds and garages. There is also a home that is an Airbnb just down the street. There's also a home that was built and then turned into a rental unit to several renters. So it's just something more to add to the area for, a variety of, living situations. So I don't see any problem with putting this home here. I think it's a beautiful home. And I think that it would do well to fit in with the rest of the homes in the area. So it just happens to be on the other side of the road, but it happens to be close to where my family lives. So it's convenient for us, but.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone from the audience wish to speak to this item? Please step forward, state your name and address. And you have 5 minutes.
Pardon me?
You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Willard Huffman, I sent a letter up here a while back, And I presently live at 1808 South Queens Avenue in the city of Sioux Falls, but I do own property on that road yet. I took care of that road for 25 years. I plowed it and graded it and everything. So I'm concerned about the 15-foot setback, mainly because of the piling snow, and sometimes we have to force it up into the yards off the roads. So my concern would be there. My other concern is what type of skirting or foundation is this trailer gonna sit on? Her property, her folks' property, and most of the property on that road are very well taken care of, except for 3 units, one on either side of where she wants to build, and one across the road and down a little bit from her dad's. They're raccoon, possum, rats, groundhogs, rundown buildings falling down. And my concern was that this trailer off the property would enhance living conditions for the varmints. And the planning and zoning is taking care of some of the problem out there, but there's a long ways to go yet on this, on the other properties. And all the houses on the lake are built anywhere from 1960 to 1992, 93, somewhere in there. So they vary in ages on the lake. And her folks' place are not necessarily on the lake, it's on a canal, but all the properties in the area are very well taken care of, except for those that I mentioned, and her folks is not one of those, but unfortunately they have to live near it. And it's an eyesore to drive by all the time. That's all I have to say. Question?
Any questions for him? I guess not. Thank you. Anyone else care to address this item that's in the audience? Okay. Commissioners?
Madam Chair, if I may,
Go ahead, Mike.
trying to keep the variance issue aside from what we're looking at in this particular issue, which is just that of approving the manufactured home. I understand that there's concern about the appearance or the stigma of having a 1970 single wide trailer with a metal skirt side and a rubber roof, but it doesn't appear that that's what we're looking at tonight. We're simply looking at a home that's getting moved on, getting set on a permanent foundation. I guess with that said, we can address the setback at the next meeting, but again, just looking at this issue of the manufactured home, I'd make a motion to approve.
I would second.
Okay. At this time, I have a motion and a second to approve conditional use permit 24-35. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Move on to item number 8. Kevin, I think that's you too.
I am Kevin Hookman from County Planning Department again. Item number 8 is a conditional use permit to transfer 6 building eligibilities, and you heard the legal description before, and it's up on the screen. The location of the clustering of building eligibility is located at Jasper Street and 478th Avenue, and this is 2 paved county highways and located east of Del Rapids. The property owner owns several large contiguous property parcels of land nearby, as you can see here. The receiving parcel already has 6 building eligibilities, 3 of which were building eligibilities transferred there earlier in 2008 by a different conditional use permit. So this new transfer will add an additional 6 building eligibilities for a total of 12 building eligibilities on the site. I'm actually going to skip down to the kind of the site plan here. And the petitioner has provided the site plan as kind of a concept for the proposed development. As you'll see there, that it'll have a road that'll go through it and connect both highways. So it'll have 2 connection points and then a cul-de-sac going off to the west. So there'll be a total of 12 large lot residential properties on this subdivision here. The conditional use permit criteria, I'll go over a couple of those here quick. The effect upon the use and enjoyment of the property in the surrounding area for the uses already permitted and upon the property values within the surrounding area. Since this is a large piece of land in an active agricultural area, I would note that there are farms near the area that do have cattle, but there are no currently permitted CAFOs within a 2-mile radius of the site. People who build in the development will be aware of the current conditions of the building site in the area around it, but it may be difficult for nearby like CAFO operations to expand in the future since there is existing cattle being kept elsewhere nearby. The site has bordered by 2 county highways, and as you saw in the concept plan there's access to each highway. The highway department has reviewed the plans and has had no comments yet. A preliminary subdivision plan must be submitted and approved before final platting. And then I'll go over number 2, that the effect upon the normal and orderly development and improving surrounding vacant properties for predominant uses in the area. Again, this is an active agricultural area. Del Rapids is approximately 2 miles west of the site, and there's a large floodplain between this location and Del Rapids as it's divided there by the Big Sioux River. So it won't be developed with residential uses from the city anytime soon. But as I noted earlier, if there is other CAFOs that want to expand, that might be an issue, but they have not done any sort of permitting yet to this point. And then I'll jump down to number 3, the utility access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities are provided. Just want to note that the applicant will be responsible to extend any utilities and access roads, so that'll be on their ability to do so. And I'll jump down to number 6, the health, safety, general welfare of the public in the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan does encourage the clustering of building eligibilities. The site already can accommodate 6 eligibilities on the property now. So having one cluster of development grow bigger just is an expansion of what is currently allowed. The subdivision will have direct access onto the paved highways, and that'll be a benefit for both the people who live there and the use of the highways, that it won't be dusty or such as like a gravel road development. Staff is recommending approval with this with 2 conditions. The photos of the site plan are just mostly a field. You can see the hill drops down toward the south. This would be looking down the highway towards the corner intersection there and up towards kind of the nearest farmstead there. And then this would be looking from the corner down into the property and then looking south along that highway there. And then across the road from that corner as well. So I'll probably take it back to that subdivision plan. And I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for him?
Sure.
Doug?
Yeah, Kevin, why don't we have a right to farm on recommendations?
Even if it's not part of the conditions, it will be a requirement as per the ordinance. Since there's a preliminary subdivision plan coming forth after this, there will be a whole nother review, and that can be a condition of that was part of those lots.
Okay, just wondering.
Anyone else? Joe?
And Madam Chair, I think you touched this, but just a point of clarification, we're well east of Del Rapids. That this is outside of the joint jurisdiction, and this is fully our jurisdiction.
Yes, this is fully the county's jurisdiction.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. Is the petitioner here? Will you please step forward and state your name and address?
Good evening, Commission. My name is Jacob Morris with DGR Engineering. We are spearheading this project, if you will, with the development group. Kevin did a good job of, explaining what's happened thus far and where we're at. We're understanding that this is more or less step one of the process. Obviously, there's a site plan for here before you, but tonight is just about the building eligibility transfer, knowing that there's the subdivision process to follow. As Kevin mentioned, there is a handful, 12 building eligibilities that are contiguous and with the same property owner. Upon review, this location seemed best fit for the use of the eligibilities rather than scattered amongst the parcels in random fashion, to isolate them in this corner with the direct access to two county highways and some of the less productive farm ground of the parcels in question. More or less made good sense to us, so that's what is being proposed here before you. I'll leave it at that, barring any questions from the commission.
Any questions for him? Not at this time.
Thank you.
Anyone from the audience wish to speak to this item? Please state your name and address.
Peter Rasmussen. I'm from 128 West Carmel here in Sioux Falls, but I'm a trustee for the Rasmussen addition that lies about a mile or so to the west of this property. Probably more of just a procedural question. Seeing a site plan, don't know if there's already been some sort of analysis of drainage. This land currently drains through not just my property, but also other property along that road. So I'm not sure if we've got to the point yet where we have any kind of information about what the drainage would look like. I guess my concern is if we're putting in roads and having grading going on 12 different lots, that could impact the amount of water that eventually flows to the Big Sioux River through my property. So that's my biggest thing. And then the other question I guess I have is there contemplation for changing zoning of any of the, not this property, but any of the other tracts away from agricultural?
Okay. We'll have him come back up. Maybe he can address that, okay? Mr. Morris, would you like to address him, some of the questions he has?
Yeah, you bet. As far as drainage goes, a little too preliminary in this project to have gotten into that too much. Obviously we're cognizant of it. We do a lot of development work all over. We're understanding that, of the requirements as part of the subdivision review that, you're not allowed to discharge more water post-development than pre-development. I would say from a professional engineering perspective, when you take row crop fields and make them turf with a density as low as this, or turf grass for that matter, just grass in general, you're significantly slowing down water. There's just cover on that ground for 12 months out of the year instead of just during the growing season. So drainage is less of a concern the lower density you have. So parcels of this size, 4+ acres, a lot less concern than a higher density development you might see in a municipality. As far as rezoning goes, I can't speak to anything surrounding this parcel as we're only looking at this one here, but it would not be our intent to rezone anything considering the use of the building eligibilities that are being considered this evening.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience wish to speak to this item?
Yeah, John Bunkers. My driveway is the one that's right along the Jasper Highway that's going basically north. When they originally put that Arrows Data Center road in the corner, they were supposed to cut that road down. So from my driveway back to, well, it'd be Jim's driveway, Jim Hyman's, to the west, it was all supposed to be cut down so you could see the traffic coming up to the Arrows Data Center road, getting on the Jasper Highway. You can't see it. From my driveway, you cannot see if somebody's coming up that Arrows Road. I don't know how far back that other driveway is that goes on past my driveway to the west, if you can see that corner or not. But I know from my driveway, you cannot see that corner. It wasn't cut down the way we were told it was gonna be cut down for safety reasons. And the next thing it is, I was wondering where they're gonna get the water pressure from these, because when we bring our cows and everything home, and we're right at the very top of that, when we're watering our cows and calves, we don't have enough water pressure in our house hardly at all. So I don't know if they got a plan for water pressure to up it, or the safety on the Jasper Highway, because you can hardly see to the, what I would call east, coming off the Arrows Data Center Road, for safety reasons. I know in my driveway you can't. So that's what I'm here for, so.
Thank you. Anyone else care to address this item? Okay, commissioners?
Yes, Madam Chair, if I can again.
Go ahead, Mike.
Looking again at this plan at face value, I appreciate the neighbors' concern about line of sight. And looking at, I guess, land use, which is what this body's impaneled to look at, it does feel like it's an appropriate use. Now, with that said, Scott, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but any further access permits onto the highway would have to be evaluated by the highway department for that very concern for line of sight.
That's correct. And so the preliminary plan would be reviewed to the highway department, and the highway department would have to approve these approaches,
Thank you.
both of them, because they're both paved county highways.
Okay. And I guess the one other concern, Doug brought up earlier is just that right to farm covenants. I know, Scott, you said that kind of be, or it had to be a requirement regardless in the future. I just know that every time we move other building eligibilities, we're pretty consistent with having that stipulation. So I guess I'd look to everyone else here to think if that's a requirement or not, but.
You could, whoever makes the motion could make a motion to add that as a third condition if you so desire.
No, that's where I'm going. I guess I just don't want to be the pain in or the fly in the ointment, so to speak, but I guess I look to everyone else up here to see if that's a reasonable request.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead, Doug.
Madam Chair. I look at this and it's in the agriculture area. And farms aren't getting any smaller. Why are we gonna tie the hands of future generations to expand livestock when we have something like this? It might be good, but when we get them consolidated in one area, one person can raise a lot of ruckus and kill a project. And with the technology that we have nowadays for water control, air quality, expansion, we gotta feed the world. We have to. I just got back from a trip over to Japan and Taiwan. And they don't have areas to do any of this. We have the area. Let's not tie the hands of the future generation. Like I said, looks great on paper, but I can't support it right now because it's in an agriculture area and we have to preserve some of these areas in the county. So that's my 2 cents.
Madam Chair, can I add one thing to that?
Go ahead, Mike.
I appreciate Doug's thought. Doug is right. We do look at this at kind of the balance of farm versus rural growth. The flip side of that coin is we got 12 eligibilities that can be used for any purpose. Are we better off having them scattered a mile apart, a quarter mile apart, or are we better off consolidating them? That's just a thought.
Madam Chair, I'll
Go ahead,
pipe
Ryan.
in here a little bit. I'm gonna agree with Doug on this. I'm gonna be against it tonight. Just for the size of this development, I think if there's a livestock operation around there that does want to expand, they're gonna have a real fight on their hands if they want to do anything. I mean, we've seen it before, so.
Madam Chair, I guess I'll
Go
throw
ahead, Joe.
my 2 cents. Again, this action tonight would just be the transfer of the building eligibilities. I think for a number of factors that have been brought up tonight that are valid concerns, I think a second step would be to look at this particular development that we're looking at, the size, scope, scale of it. But I also think this speaks to why we needed to update and think about our comprehensive plan and how do you get to yes on residential development. One could argue that this group is coming to us kind of doing it the old-fashioned way of transferring building eligibilities that really we could have 6 to 12 homes sprinkled throughout this area under just the existing structure. So consolidating them and just getting our arms around density zoning with a few examples. And I think that's the opportunity we have with the comprehensive plan is to take one step back from any particular project and think about some objective principles of what do we see, and then try to apply those objective principles to this particular. So I can see some valid objections to this one. I think we'd want to know more going into it, but I will be supportive of transferring the building eligibilities in the first instance tonight.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, commissioners?
You want to make the motion, or you want me
Sure.
to make the motion?
I guess, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve, but I would like the condition on there to have the right to farm covenants added.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor to approve conditional use permit 24-37. Any further discussion? I'm going to do a roll call vote here. Okay, Ryan?
No.
Doug?
No.
Becky? No. Adam?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes?
Joe?
Yes.
It's a tie, so I'm going to have to vote. I'm going to go with a yes vote. So this item has been approved. We'll move on. Any old business?
No.
Any new business?
New business. I will be giving, I've scheduled an update to give the county commission sort of a briefing update on where we are with the comprehensive plan. I'm anticipating having that go to the first meeting in August, which is August 6th. Staff has prepared a PowerPoint presentation that I'll be presenting to the planning commission. So that, I just wanted to give you an update on that. And then second item, I'm not sure if this is old or new business, but the second item is tomorrow at 5 p.m. is the appeal of the produce stand, just FYI. That was a conditional use permit that we heard last month, so just to give you an update on that.
Okay, and I have an FYI for you commissioners. I was approached by the city of Sioux Falls, their planning director and development services, to see if I had interest in being on the advisory committee as a member. For their comprehensive plan for Shape Sioux Falls 2040. This is a 14 to 16 month commitment. I did call Scott to make sure that it wouldn't be a conflict, because I will only be on there as basically a citizen. I have agreed to do this, and I do not know exactly who the members of that committee will be until next week. The first meeting is on Monday night. But I want to make you aware, I'm not sure why they reached out to me. I do sit on a couple of nonprofits, but it could also be because of my profession. I'm not really sure, but I always like to make sure that people know what I'm doing so they don't after the fact say, why did you do it? So we'll move on. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Move on to the next meeting, which the Zoning Board of Adjustment